Hey y'all, it's Money Mish. I'm starting to vlog again, so here we go. Today's subject is reasons that I stopped talking to men. What the hell is today? Oh no, it says it's too loud. Today is June 6th, 2026. So I was talking to this guy last year, and this is a point in life where I was like, oh, I'm gonna change my career from being an educator. And I'm like, yo, if I get into nursing, I could like move up faster, make more money. And I already have my master's degree, so I just have to go back and get like a second bachelor's and take all these science courses. But I'm like, I could do it. I believe in myself. I think I could do anything. Let me put my mind to it. I'll be like, I could do it. I believe in myself. So I literally just did one semester of being like a health science major, and I took a statistics class. I really suck in math, which is something that you really need in nursing. And I'm talking to this guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm back in college. Mind you, I paid for tuition out of pocket. This is $3,000. If you know anything about educators, we do not get paid that much in New York City. And just compared to like living, really. And I said, hey, I need this calculator, this Texas Instrument calculator. And he goes and says, oh, what does my money have to do with you? If you ask him, he's making like 120, which is what my salary and a half, but I really think it was more. And I know he has more money saved. But then he also talks about other issues that he's had with money. I don't really know where he went wrong, but I'm like, okay, cool. So in my mind, I'm like, you don't like me because I'm in college, I'm bettering myself, and you can't even get me a calculator. I didn't actually pay the tuition. I don't ask for fancy dates. I don't be like, oh, I need a Birkin bag. I need to go to this nicest restaurant. I don't say any of that. Because at the end of the day, I'm feeding myself, and I like the bags that I have. I'm a book bag girl. I'm a book bag rapper, apparently. He didn't want to pay for it. So right then and there, I knew, I'm like, you know what? This is not going to work out. I stopped talking to him. We did start talking again, but we just stopped talking because I wasn't feeling it. Do I personally have love for this person? Yes, but I just be like, oh, it's just not going to work, whatever. This other guy, I stopped talking to him because everything was going fine. It was going great. Like, he's sending the cabs, taking me on dates, meeting the families, yada, yada, yada. The family. And one day he goes to travel, and then he starts to get distant. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? Because for me, it's just like, as a girl, yes, I'm emotional. I feel like emotions run the world. However, just because you're a man doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. So for me, I'm just like, okay, let me ask what's going on. Let me check in because I'm that type of girl. And he basically just like, oh, my ex contacted me, and yeah. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, you in love with her? Like, what's the vibe? What's the word? What are we doing? And then he goes and says he wants to be poly. I do a lot of things, but I don't do that. I'm not into sharing dick. I don't want to share dick. I think it's actually really disgusting that you could be like having intercourse with somebody else and then you wouldn't come and have intercourse with me. Not with it at all. It's this other guy I stopped talking to because he would come to me sometimes. Not even that often. He came to me like a few times, and he was big into playing basketball. So one time his gym like booked the gym with his friends and they canceled. So then he's just like, oh, there's no reason for me to come out there anymore. Sir, hello? Like, when you were drunk the other day, you called me like 20 times, but you don't think that's the reason? Like, I feel like if someone does something when they're drunk, then they really mean it. Like, nigga, this is where you want to be. It's cool. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, you don't really like me. And then a couple of months later, I got my car, and I'm like, oh, like, I'll go see him before. I was going to Nashville. I'm like, oh, let me go see him before I go to Nashville. I go and see him, and he talked about how he didn't like my apartment and like the cat here and yada yada. I'm like, okay, cool, everyone's not into cats, but like the cat lives here, so what you want to do? I go to his living spaces, not really the best, but then when it came to food, so at my apartment we would just go out and get food, and I think I paid for the food twice. I didn't mind, like, it's tacos, nothing too crazy. But the time that I went to him, he heated up like chicken nuggets and I think like french fries or something, and he ate the majority of it, and he was just like, do you want some? Nigga, what? And this is why it's important to have your own money so you can feed yourself. Let me think of another time I stopped talking to a guy. Oh, it was this one time I stopped talking to this guy because we had been dealing with each other for a really long time, and every now and then it'd be like, oh, I love you, okay, I love you too. But then we stopped talking, we started talking again, and then I just felt like he just wasn't saying it. And I just want to know, like, I just feel like if you miss me, let me know. I'm a very verbal person. He didn't say anything. So in my mind, like, oh, if you don't miss me, then like miss me. Like this is not something I'm interested in. And then he started talking about, oh, you have to let it happen naturally, and let me just say it. And I'm just like, yo, it's been years. And then I thought about that song, like, how it go? If that no, it's a Ciara song, and there's an older version. She be like, if that boy don't love you by now, he will never ever love you. You know what song I'm talking about. What's another reason I stopped talking to a guy before? I stopped talking to a guy before because he was like too little. And not even just talking about like his like penis size, but I just lost weight. I lost about 40 pounds. This guy, he wasn't really tall. I want to say we're like the same height. I'm like 5'6". What up, short kings? He was like 5'6", but we were at his friend's apartment, and the apartment was extremely like dirty. So in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck would you like invite me here? The apartment was like, it was dirty. Like the walls were like sweating, and then the walls, it was like old dust sweating on the walls. Kind of nasty. We weren't there for that long. But he sat down and talked to his friends, and I sat on his lap, and then he said something like, you're kind of heavy. And then I was like, oh, like you want to switch? You want to sit on my lap? And he said yes. And we switched, and he sat on my lap. I just feel like it's a lot of things that I could do, but I can't do that. Like, if you can't handle me and my size, then I don't feel like we could be together. I don't think anything could work. What's another reason I stopped talking to a guy? Oh, this will be the last one. My first boyfriend, which I have so much love for him, which, for context, he allows me to call him, right? My first boyfriend, when I was actually in second grade, like, he used to walk me home and like buy me like M&Ms, and we lived in the same building. So I was on the 6th floor, he was on the 8th floor, and I heard through the grapevine that he was batting for the other team, which turned out to be true. And we stopped talking. I think he was like embarrassed, but for me at that young age, I was very like, oh, like, you don't like girls because of me? Like, I did something wrong? Yeah, that's how I took it. And in hindsight, it really didn't have anything to do with me. He just is like who he is. And I feel like if the world was more accepting of people, then he would have felt more comfortable like coming out, and just the way he went about the situation. A lot of people ask me if I'm dating. I'm currently, I feel like I want to date, but a lot of men are very like, all right, we live in a world where women don't always like, they're not always forthcoming about having like a career, and men kind of like the damsel in distress. Like, men kind of like, some men at least wanna feel like, oh, like, if I'm in this woman's life, like, how can I help this woman's life? Which is like a cool concept. But when you're dealing with a woman who doesn't really need help, and your only entry point is to like pay for things, then you don't have an entry point. If your personality is only money, and you're talking to a girl who can take care of herself financially, then you don't have a conversation to have. You don't have a reason. You don't have that pride. And yeah, so the last guy I was talking to, he didn't feel like he was needed by me. And there's a lot that I'm going through, which I could just talk about in like another video. So it's just like, there's things that I do need, but you want me to ask you to pay my rent? You want me to ask you to pay my tuition? So there was a guy I was talking to when I was like probably like 28, I told him I needed like my hair done, and then he was an older man, he was probably like 60. He was just like, oh, that's something small, that's not important, why would you ask me for that? And I think that there's not a one size fits all for men. They all like different things and have their different reasons, but I personally don't want to beg anyone for anything. All right, I've been talking for a long time. My name is Money Mish. I do a million things. Most importantly, I'm a rapper. It's 2026. So this year I put out an EP titled Please Leave Me Alone.
You said you stayed out all night. Baby, do you miss me at all? If not, please leave me alone.
I also put out an EP titled, I know the name of it, The Mishi Tapes, February 2026. February was hard for me.
Still gotta go to work even though I'm shivering, and my homework still due even though I'm quivering.
It's only on YouTube, but I think I'm gonna move it to be on on Spotify and Apple. And then my next album, my sophomore album, can you believe I have a sophomore album? My sophomore album is titled On the Fatty, and that'll be out June 26, 2020.
Fatty, he sent the Addy, he feeling on the fatty.
26, which has 5 brand new songs in it. Yeah, 5 brand new songs. Yeah, check me out. I'm a cool person, you know. Get to know me, get to know. I want to do like an intro song, kind of like you know how like TV shows, they have like the song in the beginning, like the opening. I want to have one of those. What should I say? I don't know.